Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are starting part 2 of our series Who Promote Pedophilia, Torah, Mishnah, or Sharia. In the first part, we show that unfortunately Sharia promotes pedophilia. Who is interesting can watch the first part of this series. And in the second part, we will talk about Torah and Mishnah, and that Torah and Mishnah don't promote pedophilia, and that are just lies of Islamic apologists, that they are trying to justify pedophilia and Sharia, unfortunately, instead to say that it is not from God, and that some their scholars that made Sharia messed up. So let's start. So does Torah promote pedophilia? Short and simple answer, no. In the Torah, yes, we don't have specifically numbers of years that was mentioned in which girl can marry and have sexual intercourse with her husband, but from the context of the Torah and also from the customs of the pagan people that surrounded Jewish people, we can see that not just Torah doesn't promote pedophilia, but also that for the Jews, that bottom line for the consummation of marriage was, as I saw, even higher that, for instance, from Egyptians. So let's say like in Egypt, it was 12 or 13 years for the girls and signs of puberty. For the Romans, it was at least 12 years, like minimum. Also, for the Canaanite people, you will see in the Torah that God forbid many things to Jewish people to do, and said like going to the sorcerers, doing orgies doing much immoral things, even necrophilia, even zoophilia, but even about because that surrounding people do that nasty stuff, and because of that, Lord God cast them in front of the Jews. But even that surrounding people that did very nasty stuff did not do such a thing, and that is the one of things that are not mentioned about them. So if you look at the context of the Torah, you will see that in the Torah, bottom line of the marriage and cosmetic marriage for the Jews was even higher that 12 or 13 years like for Egyptians, and Jews lived in Egypt for a long time ago. So let's start. You will see, for instance, like here in Genesis 2:24, for this reason a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and they will become one flesh. Now the wife is corresponding with word Ezer, and word Ezer have additional meaning and purpose. And was like procreating. So let's say from the start, God didn't allow this kind of stuff, but in Sharia they claim that is allowed and it is from God. Unfortunately, they are claiming that. Also, if you, for instance, look Solomon Song of Souls 8:8 or Ezekiel chapter 16, you will see from the context what was the proper time for the Jewish girls to get married. And well, let's start. Now, for instance, if you look in Ezekiel, it was said that God find little girl and help her, save her, take care of her, and she grow up, and she developed. And after that, some more time passed, and then later God passed by her and married her. It was like parable for the Israel, and Jewish people that God would make covenant with them. Now, why God through mouth of the prophet Ezekiel spoke with the Jewish people like that? Because the main reason is that Jewish people was common people. Most of them was not literate. Most of them was not scientists, and they didn't understand very complicated language. But if you explain them with their customs, with their basic rules that they already knew, they will understand. So, because of that, God explained them by their own customs and their own culture and understanding how men should marry wife. So let's read. No one look on you with pity or had compassion enough to do any of these things for you. Rather, you were thrown out in the open field for the day you were born. You were despised. Then I passed by and saw you kicking about your blood, and as you lay there in your blood, I said to you, live. I made you grow like a plant, or on the field you grow and develop and entered puberty. Your breast had formed, and your hair had grown, yet you were stark naked. Later, and this is very important, later I passed by, and when I looked at you and saw that you were old enough for love, I spread the corner of my garment over you and covered your naked body. I gave you my solemn oath and entered into covenant with you. Now, this is allegory, and God speak to Israel people that will come time that He will make covenant with Israelites when the Israel nation will be ready. Now, why God telling this kind of stuff? Because for the common Jew, if God was telling them with their own customs for marriage, they would understand. So from this context, you see that common Jew didn't marry even just girl that reached puberty, but also wait a couple more years that girl develop psychologically and physically, and after that, they married their wives. If the common Jew married younger than girls than this context of Ezekiel 16, they will be confused and said, but why? Why should Israel wait? Because you said she reached puberty, so we married girls as soon they start reaching puberty. But no, they understand pretty well because that was their also the custom that marries girl that not just enter puberty, but after puberty start to develop. I suppose that passed couple years after the girl reaching puberty. So it was like probably 40, 15, 16. Yeah, it's lower than these days, but it's also was not 10 or 9 or 7 or 11 like shari'ah, or not even 12 or 13 like Egyptians. We'll also see next example. I was talking about Song of Songs, Song of Songs. So you will see chapter 8, and this is like song that people singing when some girl going to marry, and they are like poking her, joking with her, and she respond to them, and from this song you can see what is the real time for Jewish girl to marry. So let's start. She said, under the apple tree arose you, there your mother conceived you, there she who was in labor gave you birth. Place me like a seal over your heart, like a seal on your arm. For love is as strong as that, it's jealously unyielded as the grave. It burns like a blazing fire, like a mighty flame. Many waters cannot quench love, rivers cannot sweep it away. If one were to give all the wealth of the fun of the house for love, it would be utterly scorned. Now tell me, this kind of even poetry, it's not usual for girls of 12 or 13 years to make this kind of poetry or express their feeling like this. Look at also continue. Though they are brothers and friends, poking her, like joking with her. I said, we have a little sister, and her breasts are not yet grown. What shall we do for our sister on the day she is spoken for? If she is a wall, we'll build towers of the silver on her. If she is a door, we'll enclose her with pennants of cedar. Cedar was very expensive tree. Now, what she answered? I am a wall, and my breasts are like towers. Thus I have become his eyes like one bringing containment. Solomon had a vineyard in Balhamon. He let out his vineyard to tenants. Each was to bring for its fruits 1,000 shekels of silver. But my own vineyard is mine to give. The 1,000 shekels are for you, Solomon, and 200 are for those who tend it short. Now she is answering for the Solomon also, because she refused Solomon. Solomon tried to make her his concubine or wife, and she refused him. And she's talking about her beloved one. So if you see also from this context, the girls that just re-enter puberty, she don't have breasts like towers, and she's not fully physically developed. So also she don't speak like this. So you can see from the context of the story that this girl was at least 2 or 3 years older than that, like she entered puberty. So she probably had 15 or 16 years. So let's look in the line 14, verse 14, what she said. Come away, my beloved, and be like a gazelle or like a young stag on the spice-laden mountain. Basically, you see from the context that is developed, grown, full-grown woman, girl, at least 15, 16 years, probably not even 14, because it's context of the story doesn't fit for girls like 12, 13, or 14 years, probably older. So also we can see about the Mishnah. Does Mishnah and Talmud promote pedophilia? Because unfortunately Islamic apologists trying to use out of biblical sources to justify pedophilia and shari'ah, and again they are lying. They don't know, or lying that don't know how the Mishnah and Talmud function, and also what Mishnah and Talmud was saying. So let's continue. Does Mishnah teach pedophilia? No. They will probably tell you about Mishnah Nidach 5:4 said that a girl who is 3 years and 1 day old, whose father arranged her betrothal, is betrothed throughout intercourse. Oh boy, these people don't know how the Mishnah work. Mishnah have like 3 layers. First is Mishnah, or written text. Jews consider Mishnah like oral Torah, that God give the Moses written Torah that we have in the Bible, and also give him the oral Torah. And they, in one time, the history after destruction of Second Temple, they wrote it that Mishnah that they consider like oral Torah. So first layer is what is written in Mishnah. Second layer is Gemara, explaining how to understand what is written in Mishnah. And third layer is Halakha. What if? It's like theoretical talking about what if something's happened? What if the law is broken, for instance? So if you look Mishnah 4, the rabbis already supposed that law is broken. In the continuation of video, we will see why. And because Mishnah use very precise and cold clinical approach, they don't discuss here about girl's father or girl's husband. They broke the law. For them, they will take punishment that the Jewish rabbi considered it will fit their crime. But now they are talking here, what about this girl? What are her rights? What are consequences? Does she have a right to inherit, for instance, money of her dead husband that married her when she was too young? So, for instance, that is theoretical speaking. Let's say like this. You will see this also, that it said and if she had menstruation, she is impure for something. So tell me how a girl for 3 years and 1 day had menstruation. So that people doesn't know what the Mishnah and Gemara, the Talmud, talking about it, how function. In the next chapters, we will see that they are lying to you and that they don't know what they're talking about. Let's look here. Yavamot 61a, it's very clear that priests and also the Jews, Israelites, cannot marry sexually underdeveloped women. So let's read. Rav Huna, what is the reason for the halakha that the priest may not marry a sexually underdeveloped woman? Now they are explaining the reason. After that, there are also questions. Why does the Mishnah specify that a priest may not marry a sexually underdeveloped woman? Rav Hava said the halakha does in fact apply even to Israelites. So not just for priests, for also the Israelites. And now they are continue. And this chapter are not finished. This actually discussion are not finished on the end of the chapter 61b, but goes to the 61i, sorry, but go to the chapter 61b. And how the Mishnah and the Talmud function like that you have discussion. And in discussion, you can see a lot of proposal, even wrong proposal, even deliberately wrong proposal by the rabbis that will be like stimulated the discussion and critical thinking. But on the end of the discussion, on the F about the some subject, conclusion is the final word and is mostly the ruling. And so we'll see here now continuation. Even if he has a wife, priest of or Israelite, if he has a wife and children, he may not marry a sexually underdeveloped woman, as she's zina. Zina is like forbidden for him. And said on the end, first clause of the Mishnah about the priest, even though the halakha also is applicable for Israelites. So we will see here that not even for the priest, but also for the common Israelites, is forbidden to marry sexually underdeveloped women. Let's continue. So, yeah, this is the same. Mishnah Nidak, and also you see here English explanation of Mishnah by the modern rabbi. He also explaining that is known for the rabbi that the girl is raped, that law are broken, but they are clinically and emotionally distantly in tone, with distant tone, speaking about what will happen with the girl, what are their rights, what are their obligations, etc. Of course, if somebody, some delusion, Muslim or Islamic apologist, or atheist, or anti-Semite, because you also have them, will not be satisfied with this answer. Let's continue. So, Mishnah Nidak 5.4 was theoretical speaking. If somebody raped the girl, what are their rights? What should happen with her? But look with Mishnah Nidak 13b. It said, the sage taught a baraita, converse and those who play with the children delay the coming of Messiah. Who plays with the children, it means sleeping with the sexually undeveloped children, delay the coming of Messiah. The Gemara asks, granted with regard to the converse, this is an accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Helbo. Rabbi Helbo says converse are the harmful to the Jewish people as a leprous cap on the skin, as they are not proficient in the performance of the mitzvah, the law, and born Jews learn from them. They are corrupting born Jews. But with regard to the category of those who play with children, to what is referring? Now they are continuing. If we say that is about homosexuality, no. If we say continue about some other, no. But, and this is conclusion, rather the baraita means that they marry minor girls who are not yet capable of bearing children, consequently emitting semen for not. As Rabbi Yosef said, the Messiah, son of David, will not come until all the souls of the body have been finished. So you will see here, also in Mishnah Nidak, just a couple chapters more, that you that is forbidden, and that people who do this Nazi stuff are considered like lepers, like bad people, and they are delaying coming of Messiah, because in that time Jews also wait Messiah because they did not accept Christ. Also, for the people who don't know, this is the proof that they believe that Messiah, son of David, will come. Same stuff. This is from Yevamot. So if we look for the paragraph Kiddushin 41a, paragraph 8, we will see also the same story. The Mishnah teaches a man can betroth his daughter to a man when she's young woman. The Gemara infers when she's young woman, yes, he can betroth her. When she's a minor, no, he cannot betroth her. This statement support the opinion of Rav, as Rabbi Yehuda says, that Rav says, and some said it was said by Rabbi Eliezer. It is prohibited for the person to betroth his daughter to a man when she is minor until she is such time that she grows up and say, I want to marry so and so. Okay, this is Rabbi Eliezer. It's like a very famous rabbi from the 6th century. It was one of the rabbis that wrote Mishnah. So you see also this here that is forbidden. And for the Jews also, you must understand that they had two types of weddings, small wedding and bigger wedding. Small wedding is like practically betrothal, and you can betroth a girl for somebody, but not marry her. So it was small wedding, and you can betroth a girl for instance, when she have 9 years, 10 years, 5 years, but that is just betrothal, and she stay in her father's house. They make small weddings like celebration about betrothal, and she stayed in her father's house when she reached at least 12 years in one day and reached puberty. If she did not reach puberty, she must wait. And after that, they are bringing her fiancé to her, and she must say, I still want to marry him. And if she said that, after that they are arrange real wedding. It's like bigger wedding, real wedding. And after second wedding, she go to her husband's house, and after that he can sleep with her. So it was, after all the ceremonies was done, she had about 13 years. It's small, but not 7, 8, or 9, or 10. And now you will see that is from the context a lower number of years. That, for instance, in the context of Torah. Why? Because after the destruction of Second Temple, Jews was forcibly relocated throughout all the Roman Empire, and also a lot of them, I think, ran to the Persia, and now they did not have their own state, their own law, their own courts, temple, and there was not like big minority in the places that they lived. There was not majority, but was minorities, and they was afraid that Romans, Persians, Arabs will rape their daughters or seduce their daughters when their daughters start to reach puberty. So they put down that border for the marriage and consummation of the marriage for the girls. So it was not 14, 15, 16, but they put it like 12 to 13, probably 13 years ago, 13 years old. And that is the reason. But yeah, it's a law, but it's not law like the Sharia said. Now we will also put a couple more examples. This is Sanhedrin 76b, verse 3. Also tell that they should marry their daughters closing to the reaching of the puberty, like starting to the puberty. And for their sons, they said the sons can also be married even a little bit earlier, because it's not for that 2 or 3 months some kind of risk that their wives will like cheat them. So for the girls was reaching puberty, adjacent to the reaching puberty, like 12 years in signs of puberty, at least. And for the sons was 13, but could be a little bit earlier, like 12 and a half or something like that. So you see here also that it was not 3 years, 5 years, 6 years, like the Islamic apologists and these anti-Semite people are talking. Funny stuff is that, especially that is for the Islamic apologists, that they consider like many Jews, prophets, holy people, and they like them. They said, we love Moses, we love Yeshua Navin, we love Isaac, Rebecca. But when it comes to the defending Sharia and sickness in Sharia, they are lying for the Moses, lying for the Yeshua Navin, lying for the Isaac, lying for the Rebecca. And they think that is halal for them, that is allowed from the God from them. I have also the references from their books that said this stuff. Let's continue. Now they will say, but you have that kind of sickness in your society. Now, look at this crazy logic. In Sharia, yeah, we have that kind of sickness because they cannot avoid all the sources in famous Islamic book and official Islamic pages that claim the same. But they said, but look, you have in Delaware. In Delaware was minimum for the sex with the girl 7 years. And it was one more lies. They didn't even bother to read the article because it said in Delaware, lower border for the consummation of sex with a girl was 15 years. 15, not 7, 15. But if somebody will sleep with a 15 years old girl, he will be responsible in front of law and will be punished. But if that girl will say that she was not raped, that she give consent for the sexual act, in that case, that person will be charged abusing a minor, but not for the rape, and he probably will be punished with some pretty nasty punishment because in the United States they have harsh laws, but will not be charged for the raping. And if he will be sleep with the girl with 7 or less than 7, then if the also victims will said that she consent to the sex, then he will be also not charged just for the abusing minor but also for raping. So it was 15 years, not 7. It was 15 years lower border. And you will see here, this is little bit bigger picture. So it says Delaware has other strengthened laws up to 15, but for rape, a law with consent hold only to 7. So if somebody slept, for instance, with a girl with 14 or 13 years, and she said, yes, but I consent for the sexual act, he will be charged and judged and sent to the prison for the molesting minor, sexually abusing minor, but not for the rape. That is the reason in the difference, but it was punishable and pretty punishable. Now let's look this. This is the article from the Delaware, and said that the group of Christian women said, okay, we have law that forbid sleeping with girls that have less than 15 years, but it's not enough. So they said, we must hire also the age of consent. So never mind, will victim said that she consent to sex or not, that person will be judged not just for the abusing minor, but also for the rape. So because of the initiative of this Christian woman, the governor of the Delaware put higher even the age of the consent. So after that, if somebody would sleep with a 15 or less than 15 years old girl, he will be not just sentenced for the molesting child, but also for the raping. This stuff Islamic apologists don't want to tell you because they are lying. They are also telling lies, like, for instance, in the France, that was 11 years minimum that you can have sex with a girl, and if she give consent, you will not go to jail. No, it was one more lie. For the France, it was 15 year. 15 year age of consent was 15. So if you slept with a 15 or less than 15 years old girl, you will go to prison, my friend, and you will go to prison up to 5 years and pay a fine about, in that time it was about $100,000. But after some time, French government raise the law and make law even more strict. So now if you sleep with the 15 or less than 15 years old girls, even if she said, I give consent, you'll be charged for rape and judged for rape, and you will be judged to 15 to 20 years of prison. So one more lies of the Islamic apologist. But what can we expect from the people that think that is from God and it's like halal for them to like? And they are saying, no, it's forbidden. No, I read your books. For the regular Muslim, normal people, Muslim, it is forbidden and they consider forbidden. But Islamic apologists, most of them think that for that is allowed because they are like defending Islam. And tell me, what is your religion? What kind of religion you have that you need allies to defend her? If God give you the real faith and the real religion, you don't need a lie to defend her. You need the truth because God is the truth, not the lie. So that is, people, for today. Sorry for my English, it's not my native language, but I hope so I gave you proper information so you can use it and refute that kind of lies and show the people, show the world that unfortunately Sharia is not from the God and promote very sick stuff. I will also, thanks to the channel Too Many Marys and Reason Answers, some of this material I have take from the channel of Too Many Marys. And if you want to check or see their channels, you will see their links in the description below. Also in the description below, you will see all the links that I provide for these slides in the presentation. God bless, people. Good night.